Hi, my name is Sarah and I'm from Indie Games and I am finally back playing Seduce Me. So, I didn't record this for a little while, I had a couple troubles here and there, but it should all be sorted out. I'm sorry for the little lag in videos, but we should be good now, hopefully, fingers crossed. So, let's get right back in here. I believe the last thing that happened was, we had a rooftop moment with Sam. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked to my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. Pretty sure it's Monday now. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
Sounds cool. I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs toward the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with the sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him? I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious, I devoured every amazing bite. I looked to the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see Sam, who was holding my hand back with a stern look on his face. Oh.
My name.
What? Your name?
My true name isn't Sam. I want you to know my real name if something happens.
Oh. His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? I remember reading about a demon's name from the journal I read yesterday. If you knew a demon's true name, you could summon them to you no matter where you were or where they were. What is it? Sam gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Almaris.
Almaris. That's really pretty. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. Almaris. I like it. Sam pulled away and stared at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you're in any danger, any time, it doesn't matter when, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
Sounds cool. I stared up at Sam, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Sam nodded back before releasing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework in the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. Oh, here we go. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Ow!
Hey, are you okay?
Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little...
Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Glare into her soul! I glared hard at Lisette, feeling wisps of air and magic run through my skin and veins. However, I stopped at what I saw. Oh dang. Around Lisette was a dark purple aura that seemed all too familiar. It was like demon magic, but it seemed to be tamer. I slowly rose to my feet, collecting my belongings as I continued to stare at Lisette. Something was off. As I continued to look at her, the aura grew, forming a shadow behind Lisette with red eye-like shapes glowing from within its darkness.
Anderson, you alright?
I couldn't respond. I was entranced by a small hum in the air. It was distant, almost like an ethereal whisper you'd hear in horror games, but it was real. I could actually hear it. It sounded vaguely of a woman humming a tune I didn't recognize.
Hey, are you okay?
Let's go. We'll be late for class. I suddenly felt the need to walk away, so I did. Naomi and Susie scrambled to catch up and follow my new quickened pace.
Sheesh, Anderson. You look like you saw a ghost.
Are you really okay? That fall was pretty bad.
Think she saw underneath Lisette's cake face and saw the devil itself.
Oh, Suzu, hush!
No, something was wrong with Lisette. It was more than just her being mean. There was something, or someone, watching over Lisette. Or they were watching me behind Lisette. What they were doing, I don't know, but it was definitely demonic. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. A text? From Dad? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah, all right. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this? Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. It's probably another reference, but I don't know it. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. Uh-oh. What the... Hey, Dad's never late. Especially not this late. Quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnected error message. What the... No signal error? How do I not have signal? I double-checked my phone and saw 5 bars for signal. He must be in a dead zone. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, a feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
It's her. I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or van. The doors closed off and I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears, first to the interior of the car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face, and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you.
Malix walked over and set the barrel of his gun against the skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
No way this was happening. No way was I going to let myself be a victim of this. I gotta remember, what was in that book?
What are you whimpering? Are you praying that the boys will come and
Not gonna bring Sam into this. He's gonna get hurt. I kept grumbling, trying to remember and shut my eyes. Studying for a brief second wasn't enough to keep a spell in my mind, but I had to try something, anything. All of a sudden, the air grew still and silent. I opened my eyes and looked around and gasped at the sight. Everything was frozen in time, as if the clocks had stopped and everything had followed suit. What the? At first, I instantly wanted to move, but my feet were glued to the ground. I guess I couldn't change time and escape from where I was, but I was still lost. What was I supposed to do? A soft wisp of wind made me turn to a floating light purple orb. I stared as it glowed, giving off a warm feeling. For some reason, this thing made me feel happy and content, despite the situation I was in. My heart felt like crying, yet I didn't know why. It couldn't have been... Grandfather? As I muttered, the orb slowly grew and faded into a spirit like my grandfather from when I last saw him. I stared up at him, completely shocked that I was correct and that his form was standing in front of me.
I guess it was a good idea to bring the incubi here after all.
What? Is it really you? What do you mean? My grandfather smiled before patting my head gently. I couldn't feel it, but I knew he tried, so I closed my eyes in acknowledgement before looking at him again.
Sweetie, I'm sorry for not telling you, but I didn't know if you were ready to know.
That you handled demon magic?
Yes.
Why? What is there to gain from learning and using demon magic?
It wasn't a matter of gaining anything except knowledge. Through magic, I was able to learn more about the demon world and its wonders. I even met your incubi friends.
You met the boys?
Yes, it was I who helped them come here, but it seems it was at the cost of my life.
What? Why? Why sacrifice yourself like that? None of this made sense. He died to bring the incubi to the human world? Why? Why? My mind was practically screaming in anger. I needed answers. With time being frozen, we had all the time in the world. Why would you die for something like that? Why leave us alone? Why leave me alone?
I wasn't intending to, my dear. But now that I'm gone, you have a chance to find yourself without anything hindering you.
What?
Your father had always been so hard on you. I'm to blame for that. He learnt of my studies before he married your mother and pushed me away, promising to never follow in my footsteps. As he was my son, I still loved and cared for him. I helped him in little ways, from paying bills and making sure he had food to come home with by adding money to his accounts. You don't know how hard your father worked to get to where he is now.
I stared, trying to take it all in. It was true that my dad worked really hard, but I didn't realize how rough he had it.
When you were born, I couldn't have been any happier. I tried to give you as many toys as I could, but many of them were tossed away by your father to protect you from me. I thought I would never be able to see you, but when I found you on the street, I was blessed enough to be given a chance. After I brought you back to your parents, I asked your mother to convince your father to let you visit me often, and he finally agreed.
Why does Dad hate you so much? Why put that on me?
Your father saw me as a monster. He was afraid I would hurt you.
You did not know my father. You did not know what he was capable of.
I didn't mean to skip that. I hope you guys could read it.
He truly does love and care for you, but he doesn't want you to be as curious as I was.
Curious?
I chose to learn about magic. I grew curious about it. He thought that was wrong, so when I didn't give it up, he shut me out of his life.
Wow.
What a stubborn old man.
So I did the only thing I could do. I gave everything I owned to you, including my hidden books your father never knew of.
My head began to spin. There was too much information. It was all going so fast, despite time not moving a single inch.
I'm just so happy that my curiosity stayed with you.
So my grandfather met the incubi. That seemed so surreal. I could hardly believe it, yet here was the spirit of my grandfather telling me. It was almost like a dream. So you introduced them to the human world.
That's right. I told them about the wonders of our world, and they all wanted to come to experience it. So I helped them come over and gave them everything they needed. They traveled everywhere, and I helped them as they learned more about humans. Then, I suddenly stopped breathing. I don't know why, but I believe it was because my time was up. After I died, the boys tried to come back. However, Malix attacked them instantly when they crossed his path. I used the last bit of my strength to guide them to the estate so they had a place to stay to heal.
Wow. So that's why they were in the house. But they said they didn't know about the house belonging to anyone.
I never told them it belonged to anyone. I merely told them to head to the estate for shelter until they could learn to live on their own.
If the estate was meant for them, why give it to me?
I never knew your father would move you in so quickly. Even still, you managed to learn of them and learn of the demon world. You even were curious enough to study the magic.
Why not teach me when I visited?
You were too young to understand. I was hoping that you would make the choice to learn on your own when you were ready to handle it. And you did. I'm so proud of you.
What are you saying? I've barely begun reading it. I don't remember anything.
I will help you remember.
Then my grandfather gently bent down and kissed my forehead. All at once, my mind began to fill with spells and history of arcane magic, the demon world, and everything my grandfather had known. I looked up at my grandfather again, now able to remember everything and more as he smiled down at me.
Never forget. Make your own choices and do what you need to do. Don't let someone determine your life for you. If you decide to never look at magic again, I'll understand. But now at least you know it's there.
Yeah. My grandfather then patted my head before turning and walking away. I tried to follow after, still unsure and lost as ever, but my feet remained stuck to the floor. Wait, please! He didn't turn back and he didn't stop walking. Soon he vanished past the wall, leaving me alone once again. I gritted my teeth, trying not to cry. My mind was filled with both the power to defend myself and a large amount of confusion I could never hope to shake off. I could feel the air around me start to move again, so I tightened my hands into fish, trying to push away my concerns. I had to remember. I was Malix's captive. I had to escape. After I escaped, I could figure out my life. Soon the world around me returned to normal with Malix mocking me. I closed my eyes and began to mutter a spell from my memory. Spiritus lumine da fortitudinem tuam.
What the? Latin? What are you?
Decido! All of a sudden, a wave of light burst from my body, washing over the room and pushing the devils away from me to the ground. As the light quickly faded, I shook my head, feeling a small weakness in my legs. Malix quickly hopped up and growled at me, obviously surprised, but irritated beyond belief.
Where did you learn that? I will rip that tongue right out your mouth!
Spiritus tenebrarum periculum prohibere.
Come here!
Malix charged at me, dropping the gun that would never hurt me to the floor and reaching for my face. However, I quickly crouched down and covered my head with my arms while the dark magic circle appeared under my feet. Above me, a dark shield appeared, blocking Malix from touching me.
How? You're just a human!
A human who knows how to fight back. I pushed against the shield, forcing Malix back before standing. I wasn't some damsel in distress. I could fight for myself. I shook out the sudden appearance of numbness in my hands as I glared at Malix, challenging him once again to come at me.
Malix!
No! Stay out of it! I'll kill this bitch with my own two hands one way or another!
As commanded, Eris stood away from us along with the other devils. The group watching us was lost in intrigue as I stood up against their leader.
Oh, you must think you're some tough shit since you know some demon magic, huh? Well, guess what, princess? Demon magic consumes energy. I could play this all day, and when you finally lose all your energy, your ass is grass.
I glared, knowing that what he said was true. I couldn't hold out forever, but I definitely had the energy to last a while until someone found me, or I could overpower Malix somehow. Malix charged at me once again, causing me to run backwards to keep some sort of distance. I could feel energy wanting to shoot out of my hands, so I pointed my palms at Malix. Light purple spikes suddenly began shooting from my hands, forcing Malix to skid back. I had terrible aim, only able to scratch the edges of his body, with one or two actually stabbing into his shoulder and leg. Malix growled, pulling them out and throwing them to the ground.
Quit playing around, Malix!
I lowered my hands, feeling the numbness run up through my veins to consume both of my arms. I began to pant, desperate for some relief before continuing. Malix smirked at the sight. Oh, for the love of God, please someone find me, I prayed. I hoped that I wouldn't have to keep fighting. I was becoming desperate. What made everyone in that warehouse drop our fighting faces was the screeching of police sirens coming closer to our location. Malix smirked even wider.
It's time to have fun, boys! Make sure you kill them all!
The devils all seemed to get excited and start to walk past us to meet with the cops, but a loud finger snap stopped them and made them turn around. Malix and I looked to see Eris with her hand in the air, post-snap.
Eris? What are you doing?
Enough, Malix. We've wasted enough time in this stupid town. I'm getting out of here and I'm taking the rest with me.
I didn't know whether to laugh or not. I bit my tongue as Malix got angry again.
Like hell you are! Boys, do as I say, or else!
None of the boys moved. Eris snapped her finger again, causing the boy to rush past her and out another way from the warehouse.
Malix, it's over. You can't even beat a human girl. You're losing your powers. Lower devils only follow higher-ups that actually have power.
Shut your mouth!
Malix summoned his gun to his hand and shot multiple times at Eris, who somehow managed to teleport away from the shooting line and reappear by us. She shook her head, letting out a sigh before grabbing Malix by the neck and pulling him off me. Malix started to choke as Eris stared coldly at him.
All this for a bunch of pretty boys. You must be stupid and desperate.
Eris looked to me, making me tense up.
Human, I suggest heading home to your pretty boys. You don't want to get involved in a supernatural investigation. It's a pain in the ass.
She then turned back to Malix, glaring daggers into him as he glared back at her.
You really think women are weak? Let me fix that, sweetie.
And with that, Eris vanished into the shadows, taking Malix with her. As I was left alone, the police sirens stopped. I look over to the open passage to see the incubi with the large police siren megaphone staring at me in surprise.
Where is he? I swear I'm gonna...
He's gone. Eris took him and left. They won't be coming back. It was all so surreal. I was helped by a devil, but I quickly shook off the feeling. I was alive, and that was all that mattered. I fought to stay alive, and there I was. The boys tried to question me, but James cleared his throat, catching the attention of his brothers and me.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
Altogether, we began to walk out of the warehouse back home. There was no way in hell anyone was going to find out about this. It was over. And that's where I'm going to cut because I am out of time. Wow, that was intense. That was intense. I hope Sam doesn't get mad at me because I didn't call him, but like, we were surrounded and the situation got diffused and he would have gotten hurt if I called him because it would have been just him, right? I don't know how it works. Wow. Malix's voice still gives me the creeps. I'm gonna have to find out who that voice actor is because he's good. So, but anyway, I'm super excited to keep playing this, and I hope you are super excited to keep watching it, so I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.